It wasn't quite Venus with Mars, it was Venus with Jupiter aligning in the night sky last night. Oof, but I saw Mars. You could see Mars. I needed my phone app to see Jupiter and Venus, but they were there. They were there. I know lots of people saw them.
At the beginning of the age of Aquarius?
That's what they say. Well, Jupiter aligns with Mars. I guess you could see them. But you know, the moon, that new moon was so bright.
One of my old pals said I've been waiting a long time for this.
Yeah, we've all been waiting. Since the 60s, right? I know. Since the Middle Ages, I guess. We've been waiting for that to happen again. And so it happened right in the midst of this Psalm 69 for us.
Oh,
I don't know.
God.
Yeah, this Psalm 69. Oh, my God.
It's a good one.
Oh, my God. You know, I mean, it's almost like all of those other Psalms were preparing to take us into this dive of truth, of pain, of looking back at our history and knowing that we have been hated, and not just us, but lots of people because of the othering that we tend to do. Trauma. It is inherited trauma. And so when we see that we are a speck in the universe, maybe that's why it happened in the midst of this psalm. We are just, we're just a speck in the universe. God willing, we are just at the beginning of our story, and we are evolving as human beings. We're evolving. The Psalms keep telling us that war is not the answer. Compassion is the answer. Seeing the connectedness of creation is the answer. So God, verse 20, put it out there.
We're picking up in the middle of the psalm because we did the first half yesterday.
Right? But we'll recap a little bit. But first, we got to offer our Misha Berach, our healing prayer, and maybe with the planets aligned between Sagittarius and Capricorn here. I don't know. Maybe with our planets aligned, there's some hope for healing for Stella, for Jack. Oh, Jack. For Sam, for Lewis, for Corinne and her baby, for little baby Deegan, for all of the people that we know that are working so hard to heal from COVID and other diseases, terrible cancers. Cancer. You have to make so many choices when someone you love is sick. And then at some point you have to just give it up. Give it up to God. Accept our imperfection. So let's offer a Misha Berach, a healing prayer for body and spirit.
רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף, רפואת הנפש, for the healing of the spirit, healing of the body, for those we know, for those we don't know. On my right, the angel Michael on my left, the angel Gabriel in front of me, the angel Uriel, Uriel, Uriel behind me, Raphael. Above my head, 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 Shekhinah Te'el. Michael, who's like a god, Gabriel, God is my strength, Uriel, 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 God is my light, Raphael, God is my healer, above my head, 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 above my head.
Praying for your mom, Spruce.
Shekhinah Te'el.
For Suzanne Cooperman Gill, also struggling with cancer. Sorry.
Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim, blessed are you, great healer.
We have to have the chutzpah to pray.
Amen.
us alone.
וערבנה אדוני אלוהינו את דברי תורתך בפינו ובפי עמך בית ישראל. Make the words of your teaching pleasant on our lips, the lips of all of those that come into our circles. ונהיה אנחנו בצאצאינו ובצאצאי עמך בית ישראל. כולנו יודעי שמך ולומדי תורתך לשמה. All of us learning for the pleasure of it, for its own sake, and also for its implications in our lives. מעשה ידינו, the works of our hands. Baruch atah Adonai המלמד תורה לעמו ישראל. Blessed are you who teaches in this fashion. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Amen. So this psalm goes to that place. It goes to that place where, okay, you know, we get that we're hated. We get that. We've been hated in the world for whatever reason. And, you know, we're not perfect. We know that, God. We know that we're not perfect. And that's what verse 20 was about, where we ended, you know. Look, my shame, my...
I like the response. We're not perfect, but we're pretty good.
Right. My disgrace, all the things that I've brought upon myself, you know them. You know them, God. You know them.
We got that fringe edge.
Yeah. But, you know, also, we know that, you know, throughout history, we've also been marginalized. We've been used as a scapegoat. Right, and not in the good sense of a scapegoat, but in the sense that if there are problems, you know, we're small, so we can be blamed for things and used for other people's power. And actually, Hirsch names it. He says, "The pleasures which others prepare for themselves shall become a snare for them." In other words, when you think that the material world is what is most important and you're seduced by it, it will, you know, it won't end well for you. So, verse 21, should we pick it up there?
Yeah, man.
All right.
Let's get all our anger out on the table.
Oof, that's what it is. Scorn breaks my heart. Insult has broken my heart. I become weak and I despair. Where I hoped for compassion, there was none. Where I looked for comforters, people who would come and take my side,
I didn't find them.
I didn't find them. So, you know, that's where we always say, we were there. We were slaves in the land of Egypt. We will never do to others what was done to us. That was a promise we made. You know, and until all are free, none can be completely free. We say that. And I think that's what he's drawing upon here. That memory, that, what did you say? That inherited trauma is also inherited memory. This is part of who we are, and it's how we respond. So they put in my food bitter stuff.
They messed up my food.
They quenched my thirst. Even my food, even my little bit of lunch, they've messed up. You know, that's the way
put vinegar.
He says. They give me vinegar to drink.
They give me pickle juice to drink.
Right. Pickle juice, right? Right. You know, so...
So I'll tell you what's going to happen, measure to measure.
Even though they feast from overloaded tables, right?
Their table will become a problem for them.
And their table is going to be a problem. May their table set before them be a trap.
Catch them in a trap.
And let their companions, those who stand with them, let them also find themselves in a trap.
Yeah, man, enablers.
That's verse 23.
Not
Couldn't be
supporters.
more
Enablers.
clear. And verse 24, may their eyes grow dark, not able to see. May their loins steadily slip.
Oh, I beg your pardon. But you know what?
That's what it says.
That's right. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's karma. You know, they're going to get theirs in the end.
That's right. It comes back.
As the psalmist says, the future is
This isn't God's
long.
punishment. These are consequences. Right. Consequences, right? Even though it says in verse 25, pour out your anger. Pour it out. You know, it's interesting to use that phrase, I think, because often we think about pouring out like water your love, pour out like water your compassion. But you can also pour out your wrath. You know, wrath can be poured out. Let your raging anger overtake them.
You can pour out your spirit too.
Yeah. Let their encampment become desolate. Let there be no dweller in their tents.
Here's a good example of the use of the gestative, you know?
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
hate the gestative in
No,
English.
I know.
But it works when you're pissed off. It really works great.
Let there.
It doesn't work so well when you're making sermons, I don't think.
I know you hate that.
But when you
May there and let there. You
it
hate
means
that,
you're out of words.
Yeah.
But when you're pissed off, it works in a crunch.
Yeah. Well, God could do it.
In ancient languages, it's very good.
Yeah, you're right. I hear you. I know I do that sometimes. Kiata. Kiata. For the one, we up to 27. For the one that you yourself have smitten.
You smacked him.
They pursued. And tell tales about the pain of your afflicted.
Yeah, they tell your story, right?
Yeah, like it's them.
That's the worst. Like
I know. They
your
appropriate your story. Well, we know about that, right?
I get to tell my story.
My story is my story. Your story is your story. It's not a competition, right? It's not a competition. One person suffering. I mean, really, it's we don't have to compete in our suffering.
That's right.
Right? We just have to end the suffering. Yeah. Verse 28. And add guilt to their guilt and include them not in receiving your justice.
So they're not going to get righteousness out of this. That's what they don't get.
They add an iniquity to their iniquity. And so they should never have, they won't have access to clemency. They won't have access to
As a matter of fact, oh my God, they're really cursed here in 29. So we don't want to really translate this too literally because it's really awful.
It is. They will be blotted out from the book of life. You know that we have this wonderful image of the complicated image of the Sefer Chaim, right?
They're not going to be remembered with the righteous. That's for sure. They won't be.
So remember that often we get tripped up on Rosh Hashanah thinking that the book of life opens and your name is put in it. That means you're going to live another year. That's not the book of life.
Hello? Oh, it's the NBA. I'm over that. I'm too old for the NBA.
You are. I'm sorry. The book of life is not, who's going to live and who's going to die in the next year. It's about having the opportunity to have your righteous deeds be inscribed for another year. You're given this gift of life so that you can do something with it. You can inscribe, and they will not be inscribed. Because they're not doing righteous, right?
They're not with the righteous.
No, they're not doing the right thing here.
They won't be remembered that way.
Verse 30. But me, Ve'ani, here we go.
I'm hurting.
Ve'ani.
I am hurting.
Ve'ani, that's that always, but me. Bring it back to me.
And give
Bring
me
it back
some
to
salvation,
the I.
God. Give me some salvation.
It's personal here.
Lift me up.
So what the Psalms keep doing for us is they bring, they're like the planets last
Here's
night,
the
right?
pivot.
They're bringing the personal and the universal back together. There's no separation here. Ve'ani, I am in need and I am in pain.
So lift me up and save me.
Only your help, God, that will lift me up.
And I'll praise.
What's the word there?
I'll sing.
What's the word? On high to a haven? What does that mean? I will lift me up to a safe place. I think emotionally, This is why we keep calling these days days of lift. Let these Psalms bring us a little bit of lift in these most difficult, most terrible, most awful days. And they are, they're awful. 1 million more people got COVID in just a few days. Over 3,000 people are dying a day just in this country. I think somehow we have to embrace that. Look at all those twos. 12, 22, 20, 20. So, lift me up, God. Lift me up to a better place so that I can deal with this pain and respond in holy ways. Because then, verse 31, I will praise God's name in song. I will magnify you with praise. Oh, God. Can you do it? Can you do that? Can you, in spite of everything you're seeing, in spite of everything you know, can you sing a song of God?
It'll be more pleasing. Here's a kind of
verse 32.
Prophetic kind of critique. It'll be better than, giving up animal parts.
Yeah, right. No more sacrifice like that. That will please God even more than the sacrifices of the oxen, than the bulls with horns and hoofs. He's coming from his time.
But
and
humble
he's saying
people
there's
will
got to
see
be
it.
a better way, right?
Humble people will see
Because the needy, the people who are suffering because of the institutions that have created cables of abundance and tables with nothing. The needy see, they continue to rejoice. Why? Because they have you in their hearts. They know what's real. And they don't give up. They're taking heart. Because they know that God, verse 34, listens to the suffering, the poor, and spurns not the captives that continue to be loyal. Not loyal to the team, right? It's loyal to morality. It's loyal to that rose that stands in such a holy way, rooted in morality and moral courage, in doing the right thing, in caring for all creation. So verse 35, let the heavens and the earth continue to praise what is right. The seas and all that move in them. Nature, right? The earth. Those that care about the earth and the way it works. We watched this great movie about the octopus. All the pieces of creation that come together that we have to protect. Verse 36.
Build the cities.
God will deliver.
And you can live
Zion.
there. You can live there.
And rebuild the cities of Judah.
And the future.
They shall dwell therein and possess.
The future will inherit it.
Because verse 37, the last verse, the descendants of God's worshipers, the ones who are trying to do the right thing, in the midst of trying to protect themselves and the people they love, they recognize they're part of something bigger than themselves, and you are the ones that will inherit. Those who love God's name, you will reside in a peaceful place. And yes, we are praying for Tommy and Judy and all of those who are suffering from COVID. That must be Lainey. We're definitely praying for them and holding them in our hearts as well. And again, we got to the end of Psalm 69, a tough psalm, a difficult psalm. So let's hear what you have to say.
Psalm 69, part 2.
69.
Blushing, probably not the right word.
That's right.
This is a good exercise. Every translation is an act of interpretation. Psalm 69, part 2, blushing, probably not the right word. My insult and my shame. I'm blushing against all that oppresses me. Insult has broken my heart. I became weak. I hoped for compassion. There was none. I hoped for comforters. I found none. They ruined my meal. For my thirst, they gave me pickle juice. Let their table become a snare. Their eyes become dark. Their privates shivering. Pour out your wrath on them and your anger overcome them. They told the tale of pain. My tale, adding wrongdoing to wrongdoing. They do not get to come in to your righteousness. Let them be blotted out from the book of life, not to be written with the righteous. As for me, poor and hurting, your salvation, I will praise the name of God with a song, lifted up in gratitude. Humble people will see it and be glad. God listening, let heaven and earth give praise, everything moving within. God will give over salvation, build cities. Live there, possess them, the future of those who serve. Send those that love God's name to dwell there.
Yeah, beautiful. So this Psalm 69 has taken us on quite a journey. And, you know, the cosmos has taken us on a journey as well with Jupiter and Venus and Mars and that beautiful new moon last night, visible in the sky, reminding us of our place. Reminding us of our place. One of the names for God is Hamakom, the place. So, how do we know God? That which is greater than we are? Well, one way is definitely through these teachings. Through the teachings. So we're going to keep going with these teachings. And we'll be back tomorrow. With Psalm 70. So thank you for taking this journey with us through this most difficult psalm. We pray for that you should be safe and that you have a day of lift and a day of light and a day of celebrating your own moral center. Be like that rose. And know that the thorns are protecting us spiritually and, God willing, us physically as well. Have a great day. A day of lift